How was creation created to be within consciousness as a whole and the earthly realms?
Creation was created to be just like that. A solidified form for yourself to step onto, picking up a form, to enjoy the elves, the gnomes, all of the beautiful creatures, animal kingdom, oceanic realms, mineral kingdoms as well. To step into, to explore, to express through, to experience. As you were learning about oneself, of what it was like to have actually a physical, tangible form. Okay? You go into these worlds to see what it was like to take a breath, to see what breath was really like, to see what it was like to explore a certain form, and exploring it, even watching the mechanics of how it works. Also, to step into, to take on this beautiful cloak that at one time housed those forms, to express from a complete, vibrant, exuberant state. No fear, only love, and the love of your own exploration of creation, to experience with and through. Now, when you were doing so, you would see what it was like to look at leaves. Because when you don't have a body, you don't have sensory neurons. You just are. You're wide awake, you're all knowing, everything is accessible and available. You don't contemplate, you don't have a mind to contemplate. So you would just express upon oneself, and expanding from Earth to Jupiter, to Venus, to Pluto, to Saturn, Uranus, on and on and on. And you would literally hover above it. At times you would merge right through it, just passing through. You had no encumberdness of any density or any magnetics. That, and you just, I must say, just are. It just is. Until you decided as a collective to create a form, being that of this planet, and other planets entirely, to circulate this planet, to hook and, let's just say, to emanate magnetics, receive magnetics from the whole universe. Well, let's just say, for at least from this universe, the Milky Way as well. And then you started creating your lunar levels, your solar levels, and all the magnetics that play off this grid system from the core of it, all the way here. Then you created star system after star system after star system, and a rotational pool, okay, rotational belt. And then you decided from here, you were going to create form after form after form to begin expressing through, okay? Now, that was before you had what we'll call a mammalian species. Creator in a man-made, creator consciousness, creating and expressing through its own unique form, being that of a human. Creator in a mammalian species. Then you began to, oddly enough, become identified with the form, become identified with the world, become overly identified within and throughout creation. So you decided to create upon yourself the opposite gender. So you created another benevolent, radiant physical form called a male. Technically, the feminine structure was first. And then from here, you would start expressing from a male and a female attribute. Because even when you had all these other forms, you would be so curious about procreation and the experience and the expression of growing upon creation. So you began to play the mating game. Now, we call it the dating mating game because now you have your male and your female in different structures. To where you would start to explore and explore and explore that until this thing called separation started. The masculine versus the feminine, masculine versus masculines, feminines versus feminines, which hence is the 12 tribes of Levi. Humanity started to split off and create these 12 tribes. We'll call them villages. Now they're cities. But you began to split off and split off and split off upon oneself, just like cells do. Because even cells multiply, okay? And then from there, you became super identified with your masculine and your feminine. Before, let's just say even before that, you knew that you were healthy, whole, and complete, that the male and female didn't really exist. But then from a form level, you created a male and a female to procreate, and then you decided that one female was great, two males are great, so forth and so forth. And you began to start with the creation of sex, power, and greed. You became over-identified with the physical structure and the pleasures of the physical structures. And you started to create dominance through sex, power, and greed to try to dominate the other structure. And then also, this village has more than my village, so I'm going to take what's in this village and bring it over to my village. Hence is greed and overtaking the other village and villagers to take their belongings. And now we have the whole creation of karma. Okay? Now that we have the creation of karma, the other villagers are going to come back as they pick up another majestic form and start to try to overtake your form and take all your toys. And from there, starting to create and create and create a pattern of consciousness called individualized journeys and journeyers on a soul stream to try to loosen up the weight again. But unfortunately, of course, the karma got more and more dense. The battles became more and more frequent. So now you've lived through, if you will, your neighbors coming over to take your belongings and make their way with you and everything else, remove you from the planet. So now you have the opportunity to have a 0 point. But then again, picking up another structure, beginning to express through creation as creator, incarnate, waking up from the whole karmic realm, waking up also from action, words and deeds and reactions, waking up from the mental and the causal levels, all the way to the subtle levels, all the way through the psyche and the subpsyche levels, and also superseding, overcoming the emotional levels, to where then you were coming in, say, I cannot wait to jump right into a body. I got this one, and don't let me forget because I'm awake now. Keep me awake. And then you would step right in and start to become re-identified with all of this and all the other villagers as it kept multiplying and multiplying. Hence his global consciousness. And waking up from thought forms to where you would start to become, well, let's just say the plan was to become disidentified with the thoughts. But the thoughts began to become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And you said, oh, well, maybe I am the manly man and the harvester and so forth and so forth. So that means I've got to prove myself and my worth and also prove my testosterone to be true. And starting to take over the other villages. And at that point, it was turning into colonies. You take over the colonies, take what I want, and leave the rest, and so forth. Technically burn it up. But then from there, that grew into more and more and more carnality and playing into karmic belts of consciousness again and being totally whooshed away. But this time, The karmic levels went from being like that to like this to like that. And you would leave the body, oh, hello, with your legs attached, okay? You would leave the body, start to go back to pure consciousness once again, making a full transition to your creator consciousness, which is going through the astral planes of consciousness, because this right here is the astral planes of consciousness. All the density that fills it up. Well, you attempted to make a full transition home, but yet, bam, you still had so much weight up within you and upon you, even through your thought forms. And all the emotional energy, all the interesting identities that you attempted to make a full transition from, but you got caught up in the astral planes of consciousness due to the density in which you were carrying. So then, we came right back over here, walked through the halls of karma, and said, okay, this time I really got it. So I'm going to come into a whole new family monad, and I'm going to be the most beautiful, beautiful conduit. I am just going to emanate, bring all of what I know to be true and accurate. And I got this one, man. I'm going to bring it through, bring it on. I cannot wait to pick up another form. So then, dear brothers procreated, and you went right through the halls of creation to step into a form. And oddly enough, you got stuck again. And this time, you had a female structure. So, wowee. I wonder what I can create and also play the attraction and distractions and attractiveness to try to wiggle your way through to stay awake. But then, oddly enough, this whole blanket of debris was laid upon you. That said, okay, now you have a feminine structure. This is what you do when you do it. This is how you do when you do it. This is what society says. This is what the perceptional mother and father from that family monad says. So now we have to mimic all this other stuff going on around us. And oddly enough, you got stuck again. So then, you went upon your live stream, playing out, coming of age. And then all of a sudden, wham, you had this whole flooding through of a question that says, I wonder why I'm here. What's the purpose here? And then a whole flooding through of clarity. Okay. What's going on around and around and around and within you. You were able to take a breath, sitting with that beautiful clarity up in the hills. And oddly enough, you came down from the hills totally, let's just say the light bulbs were on. But then again, this over here, that over there, that over there, that over there, just looked too tempting for the mental level to sink its beautiful teeth into. And oddly enough, you got sucked right back through again. You had your 3 offsprings. You had a beautiful partner that was, let's just put it politely, over domineering. Okay? And as long as you hop, skipped, and jumped to what everyone else wanted, you could be fine. But then again, wow, humanity was right here. And that's when the universe started knocking. So remember who you are. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not the sex, power, and greed any longer. You're so much more. And then from there, the harmonic convergence took place when humanity was about to wipe itself out for the 7th time, actually. And then those planetary belts came by and started collapsing the astral planes magnetically. It started collapsing and creating cracks within the karmic lattice work. And then it came closer and closer and closer to totally dissolve the karmic lattice work because humanity just wasn't getting their attention. And from here, the karmic slate began to become clean and clear, all the way right here through your solar plexus. And you were feeling these interesting magnetics, very strange, and you started to question, why am I doing what I'm doing? When I'm doing it? Wait. I'm not my father's son. I'm not my mother's daughter. Who am I? And the light bulbs became brighter and brighter and brighter, kind of like lamp oils on sticks to follow a pathway. And that was when your body principles started becoming faster and faster, vibrating lighter and brighter, more and more and more. To where even the identities with the physicality and the colorful self-images because of a physicality started dying off. And then one grid system after another started becoming reactivated, turned on, and reactivated. Because the consciousness of humanity had got to such a heightened state that it started activating planetary shifts. It actually now is even lighting up light grids on the planet. And all of these old archaic grid systems that at one time used to be so in depth and condensified is now flushing itself, purging itself to come right back full circle to a clear slate. And as it's coming into a clear slate right now, it's affecting the physical form and also speeding up vibratorily in frequencies, in megahertz, in tones, and in pitches that you actually sound like within and throughout a physicality that goes well beyond the frequency and tone of a voice. It's that whizzing going on within you, through you, and all around you in such a beautiful pearlescence pitch and tone that has now shattered the rest of this. And all of this is going through changes. Dear ones are making a full transition from the astral plane to consciousness where they've been lingering. Hence is all the shows, sighting and ghost hunters and all that fun stuff. They're watching all these dear ones be released and released and released to make a full transition. And all the souls that, we'll call the souls, dear brothers, however, that were locked into this old grid system are making full transitions. And then last time when we were playing with the quote dark energies, well, they're also coming to a head, coming to a surface incarnationally and throughout this incarnation. Coming to a head means they've unlocked and they're being escorted home to make a full transition, especially as all of you so lovingly and beautifully are definitely on a fast track of consciousness, no longer on the scenic route. Because what I was addressing was the scenic route. Now we're going direct. Going so direct that all of this is breaking down. Dear ones are making full transitions. And the cosmic lattice work is also opening, which is adding to the beautiful ability of instant manifestation and creation. And then starting to see every single particle of sand, starting to see the beautiful light radiance and the multitudes of light radiances that are within and throughout every grain. And even from the sand, all the way through structures, all the way through the dirt, the plains, the grass. Not like airplanes, but yeah, there's particles there too. Now, where it's all opening and amplifying, radiating, emanating and opening to go into hyperdrive. And that's what you're feeling in your body, because let's not forget, the body's going through change after change after change to rebuild itself, regenerate itself, recreate itself. There's many right now saying, do I even want to be in a body on a planet? Well, okay, well, fair enough, all is well. But then you start sending a message to your body, yeah, I'm here to stay, bring it on, let's go. Start wrapping up, start amplifying, start revving up. Recreating yourself, and watch how quick from each and every organ, every cell, every molecule, every atom and subatom, the whole body principle starts rearranging itself, rewriting itself, recreating itself. In your image, no longer part of a genetic, no longer part of an old archaic DNA strand or an RNA strand. And you say vitality chromosome starting to recollect, start recreating itself to amplify, to activate, and to radiate exponentially. And letting the whole body go through a total, complete embodiment integration and amplify it then to honor you now and it becoming your body, your creation, but also watching how creation starts to open for you.